When I had to choose my own program for university, I only had 3 options to choose from. So it wasn't that hard. But today, there are so many different interior design programs, diploma, bachelor's, certificates, online programs, and in-person programs. The decision is very hard, and I know that it can be very overwhelming and very scary to not make the correct decision. But today, I'm going to be giving you the full guide so that you can make the correct decision for yourself. Here's the agenda for today's video, so make sure that you stick all the way till the end so that you know exactly what to do after. Before we begin, I want to ask you if you could please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It does mean the world to me. Thank you. Many people think that choosing an interior design school will almost determine your success. So if you choose a good school, then you will get a job right away, you will be successful, and so on and so forth. And if you choose a bad school, then you will be a complete failure. That is absolutely not true. There is no perfect program. So even though there are better institutes than others, you will still have to learn things after you graduate. And there is no school that's going to guarantee you getting a job or successfully opening your business. However, what you can do is do the research to find the best option within your location, your area, your country, your city, so that you end up making the right choice. So how to start and finish your program search. Before you start looking for universities, what you want to know is what is your goal. There are many different paths that you can take. For example, working for a commercial high-end interior design company, working for a residential interior design firm, being a business owner, becoming a freelancer. You want to know which path you want to take, because based on that, then you're going to have to look for the universities, programs, or institutes that are going to help you get there. Let me give you an example. If I wanted to work at an interior design firm that designs commercial spaces, I want to go to those companies and see what are they asking for a designer to be able to work there. So I would do a search on Indeed, for example, and look for job posts from this type of companies. Some of them ask for the designers to have studied a bachelor's degree or a diploma program at the minimum, and some employers want their designers to have studied at CIDA accredited schools, which takes me to the second point. There are accredited schools and non-accredited schools. In North America, the accreditation is called CIDA accreditation, and this is a third-party company that it is overlooking some universities and making sure that they meet with the standards and that their programs are up to date. Not all institutes are CIDA accredited, but if you want to work for a high-end commercial firm, you might need to choose a program that is accredited. If this is not your goal and instead you want to be a business owner, you probably want to choose a program that teaches you some of the business basics so that you are ready to move forward with your goal once you graduate. Another goal for yourself could be to work at a residential firm. In that case, you want to look for a program that is going to specialize in teaching you residential interior design. So after you have established that goal and you have done a bit of research, then you can move forward with your school research. You want to look at the curriculums of those programs and compare them, because this is probably one of the biggest things that some people overlook, and then they get disappointed when they realize that they didn't learn everything that they needed to learn. So do not fall for the marketing tactics that different universities use to convince you to study with them. Instead, you want to be looking at those curriculums, and I will tell you exactly what to look for. There are 4 categories that I believe are very important to look for in interior design programs. Unfortunately, most universities are not going to have all 4 of them, but I would recommend you to study at a place that at least has the first 2. The first category is the theory. So you want to enroll in a program where they're actually going to be teaching you the theory of interior design. So this includes theory of design, color theory, materials that are used in the industry, history of interior design and architecture, lighting for interior design, sketching basics, concept creation, and the design process. So all of these fundamentals of design are very important for you to know. It is super important that you're going to be learning all of those things. The second category is the technical part. So not only interior design is an art, but it is also a science. which means that there's a lot of technical work that goes into it. You need to know everything about space planning, about construction materials, how to make a construction drawing set, how homes, buildings, walls, roofs are built, because you're going to be doing specifications, drawings, technical drawings to be able to work on renovations, new builds, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, if you start working at an interior design firm, no one is going to have time to teach you about the technical aspects unless you get private mentorship from a designer, but nobody has time for that. So making sure that you learn all of this in school is super important. The institute that I attended was highly technical, which is one of the reasons that I chose it. And me being able to learn the technical aspects of interior design was super helpful, to the point that I was able to win 2 interior design competitions and write my own book on space planning. If you want to grab a copy of my ebook on space planning, you can click the link in the description below. Number 3 is the technological part, which is different than the technical. The technical really refers to knowing about the construction methods for interior design and architecture. The technological part refers to you being able to master the digital tools that are used in the industry, how to work with those tools to be able to create a project from scratch. It is a little bit hard to find a school that excels at the technological part, and that is for 2 reasons. The first one being that technology keeps evolving so quickly. When I went to interior design school, artificial intelligence was not even in the map. So of course that we never had any classes on AI. We barely had some classes on virtual reality, but it was very basic. And even the softwares that we learned, we didn't really get to master them because of the short period of the program. Basically impossible to learn how to master tools like AutoCAD, Revit, Sketchup, and all of that in like 6 months, which is understandable, but you have to know that, because if the program that you are enrolling into is not going to fully teach you how to work with interior design software, then you have to either find another program or take additional classes that are going to teach you how to actually master these tools. And the 4th category is the business category. These days, a lot of designers want to have their own businesses. So there are certain interior design programs that will actually teach you the basics of how to start an interior design business. How to make contracts, proposals, how to price your services, how to do the accounting part of interior design, and all of that. So if your goal is to open your own business, you might want to look into a program that is going to teach you the basics of business. So later in this video, I will be telling you if my program actually had all those 4 categories or not. Okay, so 3rd point is online versus in-person education. Before the world collapsed, I would have said that in-person education is 10 times better. But now I feel like we have to just adapt to the new realities. And now I don't think that online programs are necessarily worse than in-person programs. The only disadvantage with online programs that I see is that you're not going to make as strong connections with your peers, your classmates, your teachers, and you're not going to be able to have like that physical interaction, communication, which is an added benefit of going to school. But if you're in an online program, it's going to be harder to make those strong bonds and connections. But some people are totally okay with that, and some online programs can be as equipped as in-person programs. And with all these online programs becoming more popular and making interior design possible for more people, it gives more flexibility for a lot of aspiring designers. So if you're thinking to study interior design online, my only recommendation would be to look at the curriculum to make sure that you're actually going to be learning everything that you need to learn. These are all the classes that I studied when I was in interior design school. I took an interior design certificate program, and after that I did take a diploma program, which was more focused on commercial interior design. So as you can see from all the classes, most of them were theoretical classes and also technical classes. We barely learned anything about business, and the classes that we have about software were not that comprehensive. We learned the tools, of course, but in a very basic level. So I would say that my school had 2 categories, almost 3 categories out of 4 categories, which for me is okay. So I think I would give my school a rating of 7. Finally, the question of the year: do you need to go to school or can you self-learn interior design? There are many opinions on this, and I absolutely encourage for people who have the possibility of going to school and the financial possibility to pursue formal education. I stand strong behind formal education, and I would not be able to know everything that I know today if I didn't go to school. However, there are circumstances that do not allow for people to go and pay thousands of dollars for interior design school. There are ways that you can enroll in other programs that are not as pricey and that are probably online, so they give you the flexibility. And I think that is fair and that is great to give more people the opportunity to study interior design. Now, if you want to become an interior designer without completing any sort of education, any sort of program, you want to self-learn, then I can tell you it's not entirely impossible, but it's also not very possible to do it in a very short period of time. So what do I mean by that? There is a lot of free information online, like the one that I share, and many other designers share information on how to become an interior designer. That is true. However, you have to know that it might take you longer to cover all of the things that you actually need to learn. The most important thing here, whether you decide to pursue formal education or to self-learn interior design, is that you need to know that interior designers are very much responsible for the safety of the people that live and use the spaces that we design. So you have a huge responsibility on your shoulder. And if you're not able to have that knowledge and you are designing spaces that are not safe for the people to use, then that's a high risk. So I know it is not a very straightforward answer, but I know that many designers don't go to school and they are great designers. So ultimately it is up to you to learn those skills one way or the other. Okay, so I hope that this video helped you and it's gonna help you to make an informed decision and ultimately the best decision based on your needs. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, my contact information is down below, my website, my socials, everything. You can also drop a comment and I will make sure to respond to you. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.